How do you enjoy one of the biggest strongman competitions of the year when you hate crowds? Well, that was what we aimed to find out when we went to this year's Arnold Strongman Classic in Columbus, Ohio. Last thing we wanted to do was spend the weekend worried about traffic and parking, so we decided that we would pick one of the hotels that's attached to the convention center and also attached to a parking garage. That meant that once we parked, we didn't have to go outside anymore and we could just hunker in for the weekend, which is also great if it ends up being a bad weather weekend, which is definitely a big possibility in February in Ohio. Just be aware that the parking garage is a little bit of a hike, and so that means if you've got a lot of luggage or if you've got somebody that can't walk too far, you may want to go ahead and drop off at the door before you park. We recommend checking in on Thursday night before the crowds and chaos pick up on Friday, Saturday once the event started. We expected there to be a bit of a walk to the convention center, but it's literally right there, which was awesome. It would be a really quick trip back to your room if you got peopled out and you just wanted to rest for a little bit. We had purchased the VIP passes, which got us in a little bit early than the standard expo opening time. We showed up about a half hour early so that we could get checked in and get our Arnold swag bag of stuff. At that time, lines were pretty low and we were able to get everything taken care of quickly, but people were really starting to line up outside of the expo. We didn't really want to stand into a big crowded line, so we ended up finding some Olympic weightlifting to watch, which was awesome. It was fun to watch, and when we turned around a few minutes later, everybody was already inside. We were able to enter the expo with not a lot of crowds. Which brings us to our next tip. There is a lot going on at the expo, and there is an app for it, and I would highly recommend getting it. This is going to have a map for everything. It also gives you all the schedules. You don't have to spend so much time in crowds when you can just go directly to the things that you want to do. That said, we had a lot of fun just looking around, but definitely later in the day the crowds picked up and it was a little less fun. When it's time to go into the Strongman event itself, you will have assigned seats that you chose when you bought your tickets. So a big tip from us is to not wait till the last minute, and that way you can get some aisle seats. You won't have to worry about stepping over people if you want to get up, and you won't be surrounded on all sides. There is plenty to eat at the convention center, especially Subway is everywhere, so it's easy enough to just pick up a sandwich and chips and a drink to bring in, or bring some snacks from home. What we didn't know in advance is that you can bring food and drinks into the competition hall. There were huge crowds of people getting up and leaving every time an event was over, and sometimes even before the event was over. If you bring in your own food, you can just stay in your seat, eat your sandwich, and just relax while all the crowds are heading out. Side note for all you nervous bladder types, there is a bathroom that's within Hall D where the strongman competition is, so you don't have to worry about going through big crowds of people or exiting that general area. Not only that, but we ran into a bunch of people that we know and some strongman greats while we were over that way. When you're all finished up for the day, you might be wanting to find something to eat. There is a lot of food around the convention center as well as in the hotels and just outside. We were, however, peopled out for the day and we discovered the joys of room service. It sounds really bougie and ridiculous, but it turns out that it is about the same price as going out to a restaurant somewhere, and it means that there is nobody else there. There's no waiting in lines. You can put your pajamas on, sit in bed, eat your burger, and watch reruns of The Office on Comedy Central. Going into this, we wondered if the crowds and the chaos would all be worth it, and you know what? It sure is hard to beat seeing this competition in person. We had so much fun. We got to see world records broken, awesome events, the expo was cool, the other sports were cool. It is really hard to beat seeing this one. I suspect that this may have ruined us, and we're probably going to be checking out the Arnold Instagram page this summer to see about getting our tickets for next year.